Hey everyone, welcome to Shop Talk, aka West Coast Muscle Saws and the Chainsaw Guy. Anyway, just a quick little video here just for some information on the Super Pro 125 guys, collectors of the 125s and the guys working on them and stuff. They had a question, and let me show you what they were asking about. This piece right here, it comes around here, you can see where the manifold screws hold it in place. There was a question on what it was for and if it was on all 125s. I started working on the 125s back in the mid to late 70s when they were still selling them, and you can still get them. They were selling 105s, 125s. We were selling those at Marriott's Saw Shop in Canyonville, Oregon, a legendary shop. It was unbelievable guys that worked there. And we built the cart engines and all that stuff. Anyway, this here is my old McCulloch, excuse me, my old 125, and of course it's dirty, filthy. It's an old original working horse, survivor they call them, and you can see it's still got the old exhaust cover and everything on it. And the main issue here was they were concerned about airflow, cooling the cylinder. The manifold here had the boot connected, and that helped a lot. That cooled the area here so the saws wouldn't vapor lock. It was a major concern back in the 70s. All your home lights and other saws that were trying to compete with the 125, and even your steels, they had issues with vapor locking when the guys would run these long bars, 60-inch bars on these saws, and work them all day long in the Pacific Northwest in warm weather, which they did daily. Vapor locking. And this was a fix that McCulloch came up with. Quite amazing for back when they didn't have real computers to design and help them with the design on these saws. It all boils down to keeping that cylinder cooler and keeping that manifold a little cooler, because you see how close it sets to that cylinder there, the fins. And of course these would plug up as this one has, and you can see all the dirt, debris. It's not dirt, it's actually oil and sawdust, stuff like that. And the starter housings, they would pack up the same way. They would pack up with all kinds of debris, and they would lose their airflow. And so McCulloch came up with this. And like I said, it was on almost all the saws that I worked on, and they would color code them to the shroud. If the shroud was black, this cover would be black. Vice versa, yellow. Seen them both. Some guys left them off. Probably not an issue if you're running a 36-inch and smaller and cooler days. No issue. You probably won't notice plus or minus having it on there. If you're actually working this saw and actually using a 60-inch, 54-inch bar, 404 chain, cutting some big wood, 90-degree weather, you could either easily have a meltdown, or you could also have a vapor lock. And what would happen on a vapor lock, that gas would actually boil. It's a low boiling temperature on your fuel. And if you weren't careful when you went to fuel up, if you had any fuel at all in there, it was not liquid. It was a vapor, and it would spew out there and get all over you and cause quite an issue. The Homelight guys always had a different fix for this, of course, because theirs vapor lock. They didn't have all this stuff until they got to the 650s, 750s, and those with the boot, connector boot. The boot was the trick. It separated that from the fuel reservoir and also the manifold and kept things running cooler. I don't know how many Homelights came into the shop I was working on, and they would put a penny in the tank, and that was their fix. You know, that was just super, you know, one of their little things that they thought cured it. And then I would be draining the fuel out, and there'd be a penny in there, and I'd say, "What's this doing in here?" And he said, "Well, that keeps it from vapor locking." Well, maybe it did on a cool day, but probably not so much on a hot day. Anyway, that's something there from the AKA the West Coast Muscle Saw, the Chainsaw Guy, and Shop Talk. Beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. We're looking at 80 degrees. There's some timber back there. Not too far from the Pacific Ocean in that direction. As the crow flies, if you were to go about 30 miles, you'd be on a beach on the Pacific Ocean. Later, guys.